be clear. ICE is one of the most dangerous agencies operating in this country right now, and not enough of y'all are paying attention. They weren't created to serve or protect, neither was regular police officers. But in 2003, 2 years after 9/11, a time where fear was the main political currency, the fear of immigrants, the Department of Homeland Security was expanding, and ICE was created under that umbrella to enforce immigration laws. But from the beginning, they quickly shifted from that goal of protection. It was a new tool for policing certain types of people, starting with Middle Eastern immigrants.
America will be better able to respond to any future attacks, to reduce our vulnerability, and most important, prevent the terrorists from taking innocent American lives. The Department of Homeland Security will have nearly 170,000 employees, dedicated professionals who will wake up each morning with the overriding duty of protecting their fellow citizens. As federal workers, they have rights, and those rights will be fully protected.
And now all Black and brown immigrants are being deemed dangerous. The agency grew fast, and under Trump's first term, it exploded. ICE became more aggressive, more public about it. Agents are kicking down doors, detaining people in front of their children, throwing them into unmarked vehicles. They go after anybody they feel like targeting, and you don't need to be undocumented these days. You just need to look like you don't belong. They've arrested U.S. citizens, and in multiple cases, these people were detained for weeks, despite having birth certificates and IDs, because ICE refused to admit they got it wrong. They don't care. The system is not built to care. And this isn't a thing of the past. Just a few weeks ago, a 17-year-old girl in Worcester, Massachusetts, was taken by ICE in broad daylight, trying to prevent her mother from being detained while holding her infant sibling. But that did not matter to ICE because they humiliated her, threw her on the floor like she was a criminal.
Stop! Stop, ma'am! Stop! Stop!
Definitely a chaotic scene on Eureka Street Thursday as Worcester police and ICE agents detained a mother and her 16-year-old daughter. That girl's face slammed into the ground as she was taken into custody.
Community gathered. We found out that they didn't have a warrant. They didn't have not just a judicial warrant. They didn't have a warrant at all. They wouldn't present it. And the community decided that these women were free to go, and the women decided to go and exercise their right to leave because they were not being detained. At that point, the police continued to try to brutalize them, to rip the baby out of the mother's arms, 4-week-old baby, it looks like, and the community tried to intervene and help them.
And they held her without cause. This is happening right now. MAGA keeps acting like they just taking people at the borders. No. ICE is going into schools. They've been walking into churches. They're showing up at hospitals and courthouses, places that used to be considered off limits as protected spaces.
Post last night where you said you want ICE to really target Democrats.
Yeah, I want them to focus on the cities, because the cities are where you really have what's called sanctuary cities, and that's where the people are. I look at New York, I look at Chicago, it's been overrun by criminals, and New York and LA, look at LA, those people weren't from LA, they weren't from California, most of those people, many of those people, and that's a focus.
And nobody is holding them accountable. At the same time, their budget keeps climbing. What are they spending it on? More detention centers, more agents, more surveillance tech, and more destruction in our communities. The cruelty in the second term of Trump is even more calculated, and cruelty is the point. On July 1st, just a couple of weeks ago, Trump opened a new detention site in Florida, in the Florida Everglades, and they're calling it Alligator Alcatraz because it's an outdoor facility built in the middle of swamp country. No real shelter, no proper sanitation areas. It's like cages surrounded by water and wild animals. There are literal alligators in the area.
As President Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis tour this migrant detention facility, there are protests outside in favor of the president and also against this facility even being here in the middle of the Everglades. A lot of protesters feel that it would be inhumane, that the heat and humidity and the potential wildlife attacks out here are a problem. But the administration says, look, the fact that there's wetlands around here and the fact that there are alligators, that could be a deterrent and actually a security measure.
These are the facts. These are the stories that's coming from the individuals that's in there. So we know the people in the facility has complained about the
lack of running water. They have complained about not receiving their medication. They have complained about worms inside their food. And so this idea that this inhumane treatment is not happening, that is coming out of the Florida Department of Emergency Management, if it's not, then prove it.
Denied access for an hour, and we've been trying to ensure that these detainees have been treated safely, humanely, with dignity and with respect. We want to make sure that there is no flooding. We want to make sure that there's nothing breaking down, and they won't let us go in. And so we're trying to figure out, they keep giving us a runaround, and they're not supposed to be denying us access because it is against the law.
The facility wasn't designed for care, it's designed for fear. It's a show of force, and it sends a message. We will make sure you suffer if you come here. This is the direction that we're going. And don't think it stops with undocumented people. ICE's history proves that once they get permission to go after a group, they don't stop there. They have detained refugees, asylum seekers, people with legal visas, permanent residents, and they've deported Black immigrants right now at a disproportionately higher rate. They have targeted entire communities based on race and language alone, just what you look like. People have died in ICE custody, and that's not hyperbole. That is a documented fact. Detainees have been denied life-saving medical treatment. They've died from dehydration, infection, suicide, and neglect. In many of these cases, ICE has delayed reporting their deaths or didn't report them at all. Just this past April, a Haitian woman named Marie Ange Blaise died in ICE custody at the Broward Transitional Center in Florida. She was held there since February. She had been complaining of chest pains for hours. Instead of being taken seriously, she was given pills and told to lie down. She never woke up. And people are currently protesting her death, even as Alligator Alcatraz opens in the very same state.
This administration's deportation process has been sloppy and reckless since day one. No due process and no transparency. In severe instances, innocent people have actually died, like Marie Blaise. She was a 44-year-old Haitian woman who was in ICE custody in Pompano. These conditions at the ICE facilities are inhumane and unsanitary. Immigrants are being treated without basic dignity and being denied medical care. I'm calling for a full, transparent investigation into Marie's death, and I will be visiting the Broward Transitional Center very shortly. We just had a tour of the facility, and the tour of the facility was in fact heartbreaking. We tried to speak to the healthcare provider, the healthcare coordinator. We were met with more hostility and evasiveness from the healthcare facilitator. We asked clear questions about their protocol for when you have someone who has heart pain or chest pain, and they refused to give us complete and clear answers, which should be very clear. In addition to that, when we talked about what is the ratio of how many healthcare professionals are there and available for each person who's in this facility, they have well over 500 people who are here, and they only have one doctor who's on call.
And her case is not isolated. This is just a deadly neglect that's happening within ICE to immigrants right now. ICE's power has expanded with no limits, once again. That's how Trump has it designed, and it's happening with bipartisan silence. Democrats have never dismantled it, Republicans have fueled it, and the media doesn't stay on it long enough, and Americans seem to be numb to it. More anti-immigrant rhetoric has reignited the diaspora wars on social media. Then there's the memification of what ICE is doing to immigrants. How the pain, fear, and violence gets turned into viral jokes and memes. It makes people laugh or scroll past instead of taking it seriously. The memes water down the severity of the dangers and turn real trauma into entertainment. It distracts from the fact that people are being kidnapped, detained, and sometimes dying. This viral culture ends up normalizing the cruelty and silencing the outrage. Cruelty is the point. Listen, if you are undocumented, you're in danger. If you are an immigrant, you're in danger. If you are a U.S. citizen who is Black or brown and doesn't fit the profile, you are in danger. Your child, in danger, because they go into the schools, elementary schools, talking to kids, all the things. ICE agents have no limits. And ICE isn't broken. It's functioning exactly the way it's meant to. And we need to stop pretending that this is anything but violent, state-backed oppression. ICE is a weapon of mass immigrant eradication. It's state-sponsored attack on Black and brown people. Even if you were born here and your family goes back decades, you really should stop ignoring it. It's not fear-mongering. It's the truth.